Shanti Shanti.
So if we say there is something as the truth, which is not further causality we can apply to that, the same logic will tell us it cannot cause the universe also. The universe cannot be a material causation, it cannot be a product of material causation. So then we look for that what is there other than this objective universe. This analysis we are doing in terms of the objective analysis of the objectude of the objective universe. So what is there other than this entire objectude? Then we come back to the consciousness or the I who is seeing the entire universe. Now this universe includes, I remind you that this universe, don't think that your body-mind personality is eliminated. Your body-mind personality is also a small speck of that universe. The consciousness I, which is seeing this universe, which is perceiving this universe, or which is knowing this universe, that is the only thing we have not considered. Because in science also, in objective science also, right in the beginning, I being a product of the world, how can I analyze the world? Which I am a product of the world, how can I go into the cause of the world? That has been the conflict. So the fundamental postulate on which objective science is based, that we consider the external world to be existing as it is, and then try to analyze how it is working, how it's functioning, etc. Actually there is no why. Science never deals with the why of the universe. It only deals with the how the things are doing. Suppose we say gravity. Gravity is only a model. Our mind has formed a mathematical model because we are finding if we leave something, it is dropping. If the earth going around the sun, it goes in a particular trajectory. If we throw a stone, it goes in a particular trajectory. All these things can be harmonized, can be explained by a simple equation if we consider a gravitational force. That is, it has come from our mind, from the human mind, that such a force is there. Suppose if we leave the watch, it is now falling. Suppose it had gone upward, then our theories would have been different. But it could have happened. Nature has designed things in such a manner that this is the way it is happening. So we are forming the law of gravitation. Similarly, whatever phenomena we see, according to that we are forming the laws. And when we find that there are some phenomena which are not abiding by the laws, we change our laws, because that is what is happening experimentally in the world. Earlier we did not know about the very small particles. We did not know about the particles moving very fast. So naturally Newtonian mechanics was sufficient there. But when our experiments became broader and we came across such events where they are not following the Newtonian laws, we had to go for newer and newer laws. Say initially special relativity, then general relativity, then quantum electrodynamics, etc., etc. It is still continuing. So in that objective analysis there cannot be any finale, there cannot be any finality or any ultimate cause there, because the whole thing is moving in a cyclic process. If the main element, that I who is observing the world, which was kept away in the objective science, if we consider that, then we see that I am at the fundamental point of my entire world conception. Even when we are thinking of God, God is a creation of my mind. The whole world is appearing in my mind, in my consciousness. So that consciousness we had not taken into account. And in that consciousness, to create anything, we don't need the causality. Suppose we are seeing dream. What is the dream? It might be something, some informations are there in the brain or so. But what is happening in the dream is, the moment you think of your mother appears there full. You can touch your mother, you can speak to your mother, you can interact with your mother in dream. It will be all dream interaction. But is it that you first thought about your mother and then mother appeared? You cannot say that. Your thought in the mind and the appearance in the mother are simultaneous there. You cannot link it by causality. They are simultaneous. Like that, anything that is happening in the consciousness, they are not by any causal chain. The causal chain is there in the whole material universe. Whatever is happening in this material universe is linked by the causal chain. And it is a cyclic process. Time also is cyclic. There is no point in saying, when did the universe began? It's meaningless, because as long as there is no matter, no body, nothing, there is no question of time also. There is no question of even space. When there are material objects, then only you can speak about the space. In the absence of material objects, you cannot think of the space also. So, the ultimate reality on which the whole universe is appearing to be, it has to be by definition beyond causality, beyond time, beyond space, beyond duality. And that is what the jugglery of the consciousness, that is how it succeeds in projecting all this magical mystery of the universe. So it is generally called Vivartavada, that is, in producing the universe, the consciousness does not undergo any change. In all material production, suppose the sun is giving light. Now in that process, the hydrogen in the sun is getting converted into helium and light is emitted. So as much of helium is produced, so much is the decrease in hydrogen. In anything, that paper pulp has become the book. Naturally, when the book is born, the paper pulp has died. The paper pulp is not available so much. Whatever was there is a reduction in the quantity. So in any causal production, the cause reduces or dies and the effect gets born. Everywhere in the causal chain it is like that. If some elementary particles are born, they are born from some other substance. That substance will reduce and the new particles will be born like that. But in this consciousness, whatever is projected, the consciousness does not undergo any change at all. That is why they always take the example of the Rajju Sarpa, or the snake seen in the rope. It is quoted in various ways, but I would like to point out only one thing, aspect there, that when in the darkness you are seeing snake and finally you discover it is the rope, there is no snake at all. That is the example, illustration taken. Now when we are seeing the snake, has the rope undergone any change really? It has not undergone any change at all. The rope remains rope, but we are seeing the snake. And when we discovered the rope, that real rope there, the substratum rope there, then the snake vanishes. Exactly similarly, when we are seeing the whole universe, the consciousness, the Atma, the Brahman, that has not undergone any change at all. When we discovered this substratum consciousness, again I am saying, when we are speaking like this, you will think that substratum consciousness is an object before you. It is not so. It is the amness in us. So when we discovered that, then the projection of the universe vanishes and the reality tada prabudhyate anadi mayaya supto yada jivaha prabudhyate anidramasvapnam ajam anidramasvapnam advaitam buddhyate tada. This is the seeing Brahman everywhere. It is not that as material you see Brahman here, Brahman there, Brahman there. It is not like that. The whole thing becomes Brahman. The whole universe becomes a projection in the Brahman, an appearance in the Brahman and Brahman alone. That is why it is said, Drishtim Jnanamayam Krutva Pashyet Brahmamayam Jagat. It is not an experience like the Samadhi, but it is also an experience. It is an experience in our Buddhi, the fundamental of the Buddhi, in our Bodhi, in the Pratibodha, in our Prajna, that experiences where the truth shines. The other illustrations generally given, one is suppose there is a quartz, sphatika. It's a clear cut glass also can be the same thing. And you keep a hibiscus, red hibiscus somewhere there. Now the whole sphatika becomes red. It appears to be red because of the reflection of the hibiscus coming in, that we know. Now, has the sphatika undergone any change? It has appeared red, but that is because of the hibiscus over there. But when the hibiscus is removed, we come to know the actual substratum, the real sphatika, there is no color at all. It is not red. And in the process, in seeing it, the redness has gone. But nothing has happened to the sphatika. Any illustration will be to a certain extent just to clarify matters. It cannot be taken to the ultimate level. So that way we have to think. So like that, when with knowledge, with the drishtim jnanamayam kritva means by this knowledge, constant rumination, contemplation of the truth, when by this knowledge we remove the ignorance we are suffering from right from beginning. When the ignorance is removed, the truth shines. So it is nothing to attain, the truth is already there. Because of the ignorance we are not able to see, the knowledge's function is to remove the ignorance. It is not doing anything to the truth at all. The Atma never undergoes any change. Even by knowledge also it does not undergo any change. The mind is suffering from ignorance, the intelligence is suffering from ignorance. By the knowledge we are treating the mind, ignorance, emotion, etc. Treating the mind, intelligence, emotion, etc. By the knowledge we are removing the ignorance from there so that the truth shines. The truth shines naturally there. Similarly about the mirage also, it is the same example, that it is appearing that the water is moving and the palm tree reflection you see there. But when you go close to it, the mirage is not there. Nothing has happened there. We were only seeing there. These examples are given to say that the substratum, there is no really any change. That is why in that sense we call the world as illusion. But we should understand that when we are calling the world as illusion, not even a point of the world is denied. That is very difficult to understand in what sense we are calling it illusion. We should try to understand it very well. Even the concept of, whenever we say that the gross objects are not that they are all appearing in the consciousness, so they are subtle. No, it is not just this grossness and subtleness, whatever we are explaining with these examples also, the subtlety feeling, both are concepts in the consciousness. The gross universe is a concept in the consciousness, and if you say that it is all written in consciousness, these expressions are also concepts in the consciousness. All these concepts will have to go to realize the truth. It is all beyond any concept, beyond all concepts. That we should remember in understanding the truth. So the knowledge only removes the ignorance, then the truth shines, whatever form it was, it shines. And when it shines, we find that it is there as the foundation, substratum of all the perceptions we are having. So for a knower also, the world does not change. The world shines as it is, but it shines as something appearing in his own Atma or Brahman or consciousness. So the eyes are seeing the same thing. There is nothing, no change will be there in the visible world at all. But in the buddhi, the vision of the buddhi will change. In our Shastras it is called ikshate, ikshana. Ikshana means the sight of the buddhi. In the buddhi, the whole change takes place. So he said that Brahmai Vedam Vishwamidam Varishtham. This huge Vishwa, which is Varishtha, which is great, huge, and it only we can look at it with great awe. Even then it will not be sufficient if we really considered the magnitudes and all. But what is this greatness and smallness, this infinitude? They are all concepts in our consciousness only. We have to understand that. This huge universe, that greatness, smallness, everything, they are all appearing in the consciousness. So, by repeatedly dealing with this truth, what happens is that our mind gets freed of all the small constrictions, ego, kartritva, bhoktritva and whatnot, that basically it is called raga, dvesha, bhaya, that is clinging to something, hating something and being fearful of something. When you talk about fear, fear is only of two kinds, that is, we are fearful of losing something we prefer or like, or facing something what I dislike. So truly speaking, fear is an offshoot of ragadvesha, that likes and dislikes. Fear of losing what we like and fear of facing what we dislike. So ragadvesha bhaya completely vanishes, because as Brihadaranyaka says, that from whom shall we fear, after whom shall we run, and whom shall we hate or run away from? Because everything, everywhere, it is the same self. There is nothing else at all. That is the meaning of Brahman here, there, above, below. It is not that we are going to see Brahman in front, Brahman at the back, and Brahman here and Brahman there. The whole universe becomes an appearance on the Brahman. We will chant once more. Brahmaivedamamritam purastad brahma Paschad Brahma Dakshinataschottarena Adhaschordhvam cha prasitam Brahmaivedam Vishwamidam Varishtham. We will go to the next chapter now. This is also a beautiful chapter. As the Upanishad is unfolding, we should not forget on what it is based. We should get back to the beginning. Some people have reported that, Swamiji, you are going back to the introductory part again and again, to the first few shlokas again and again. Actually, in understanding the scriptures, we have to be very patient, because there is hardly anything to be spoken of. Even one shloka, as I said in the first chapter, the first shloka where everything has been spoken of, which I have repeated so many times. Because if we understand that shloka fully, we don't have to read any more in the Upanishad or any other Upanishad at all. The truth is only one. That has been explained from various angles, various points in so many Shastras. We don't have to read all the Shastras to know the truth. But what we do here, we will call it the technology of transforming the being or transforming our mind, intelligence, personality, the technology of personality transformation, or the metamorphosis that is brought in our personality. How does it happen? See, right from childhood we are constantly interacting with the fragmented objects, likes and dislikes. Right when we were small child also, something we like, some toy we like, or some food we like, we are asking for that. Something we dislike, when that is given, we start crying. Right from the beginning, it is the fragmented objects which are occupying our mind, and we are clinging to something and hating something. We are always suffering from raga, dvesha, bhaya. This is going on, and it has gone on throughout our life. Even now also, most of the part of the day we are doing that. By that, what has happened is our mind, intelligence, everything has become completely soaked with this divisional feeling, this bheda drishti we call it, bheda drishti. Now this same mind, intelligence have to be made uniform. It has to be made one. So that mind and intelligence which has become completely saturated with this bheda buddhi, that has to be made one, uniform. It is not going to be easy. To do this, what we do, we constantly think of a soul or Brahman, which is uniform, which never gets affected by anything in the world. Even if there is a nuclear explosion, this Brahman is not going to be affected, or our Atma is not going to be affected at all. It undergoes no janma, no mrityu, no change at all. When there is dukkha or sukha, the consciousness does not undergo any change. That is why it is able to reveal the dukkha, reveal the sukha also. It is the revealer that which we are, our real identity. That revealer does not undergo any change. It reveals the dukkha it reveals the sukha. When we understand that, we never fear dukkha or run after sukha. We can embrace both with equanimity, with samatva. So constantly thinking about this soul which is not affected by anything, which is not changing, which is not decaying, which is not having janma, mrityu, etc. Thinking and thinking and thinking, what are we doing? We are interacting with these concepts. Now mind is not a gross product. Whatever the mind interacts with, those qualities will be coming to the mind. It is true of the objects also. Suppose one ball is moving, another ball is standing. When the moving ball hits the standing ball starts moving by taking energy from the moving ball. Like that, in the case of mind also, whatever thoughts we are feeding into the mind takes that shape. So more and more good thoughts, uniform thoughts, liberal thoughts are given, the mind starts becoming liberal, expanded, pure, like that. Whatever thoughts are generated in the mind takes them and undergoes the change. So it is the technology is to constantly give the mind interaction with this concept of the soul, so that by constant interaction with that concept of the soul, the mind finally becomes the soul. That is why in our Shastras it is said that a pure mind itself is the soul. It becomes the soul. So any number of repetition we should not become impatient about repetition. We should be able to always connect to our real identity anchor through whatever is being spoken, and by that we get qualities of the soul get infused in us, and it gets finally actualized and we become the soul. That is the process. Now here we should not forget that the first question of Shaunaka, on which the Mundakopanishad is based. The Shaunaka, the great householder, he has fulfilled his other life, other everything, but he had the enquiry, and with that enquiry he came to Angiras. I think you have also forgotten about Shaunaka and Angiras. Actually whatever I have been speaking, it is all Angiras speaking. So we have to get back to that Angiras. And why did Angiras say so? Because of Shaunaka's question. What was the question? Kasminno bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati iti. Shaunaka knew that there is something, the truth is one, and by knowing that truth, I will not have anything more to be known. That Shaunaka knew, but he did not know what is that. So that is why he came to Angiras and asked this question that, "Oh sir, by knowing what, everything will become known." That is why they are repeatedly coming back to a reply to that question, that when you know your real identity, then everything becomes known. Because everything in the world, whatever we are seeing, whatever we are experiencing, they are all concepts in that Atma, in that consciousness alone. So when we come to know our real identity, everything else becomes known. That is the reply he is repeatedly giving through these verses. So as we come to the next chapter, the Rishi starts with another beautiful illustration of two birds perching on the same tree. And this is a very famous illustration which is there in various other Upanishads also, because it gives us a real idea about our sadhana, that what are we doing and what is the reality. We will read first two verses, and then again go into the details. This is third Mundaka, section 1, first verse. Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya.
Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya.
Samanam vriksham parishasvajate.
Samanam vriksham parishasvajate.
Tayoranyah pippalam swadvati.
Tayoranyah pippalam swadvati.
Anashnananyo abhichakashiti.
Anashnananyo abhichakashiti.
Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya.
Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya.
Samanam vriksham parishasvajate.
Samanam vriksham parishasvajate.
Tayoranyah pippalam swadvati.
Tayoranyah pippalam swadvati.
Anashnananyo abhichakashiti.
Anashnananyo